My name is Kim Newmeyer, and this is my video interview. So let's just get right to it. Okay, talk to us about your experience in children's ministry. What have you done, enjoyed, struggled with, succeeded at, etc. So my experience in children's ministry has mostly been in the context of the parachurch. The last 4 years I've been working at a nonprofit organization, and we do a lot of things. We minister to kids through music and speaking through events. We also go into public elementary schools and do assemblies for kids 1st through 6th grade about character, making good choices. And so everything that I've done has been in those contexts. So what I've loved and enjoyed doing and been very successful at is for the churches, I love working with pastors and the leaders, say for a camp, and ironically the last camp we were at, the theme was Elevate. But I really love talking with them, figuring out their mission for that camp or that event. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want the kids to leave with? And then we as a team, make that happen. We work, what kind of speaking do we want to do? What do we, how do we want to bring that across? What music are we going to do? What activities can we do? And so just pulling all those things together, communicating with the pastors, making sure we're all on the same page, and then really bringing something to them that fulfills their mission and their vision for that event. Love doing that. I also love being a part of the team that executes that. I love leading worship for kids. That's one of my main jobs at the place where I'm working at now. I love speaking and I love teaching. So I love just executing, I guess, doing that. It's super fun to be flexible when things change or, things don't go exactly how you had planned, and so you have to be kind of improvise, and just being a part of that is fun, and really interacting with the kids in that. I really love that. So also in that context, I am in charge of putting the teams together, and I guess just making sure that everything is being done that needs to be done, that everybody has what they need. So when we, go on tour or go to a conference or an event or a camp or whatever, that everyone's equipped and knows what we're doing and is encouraged, and I put together our prayer meetings and all that stuff. So in the, I guess, working with churches and pastors, those are the things I've loved to do in children's ministry. Now, another thing that we do is we actually produce product for kids and for churches. And so I have been able to write a lot of resources and guides and music for kids, and that's really fun and I love it. But I guess that's one of the things that I've struggled with is my heart is really to build relationships with those kids and invest in them. So like at a camp, we're there for a week and I connect and do all those things, and then they get to go to their home church, and everyone there gets to keep building into those stories and those lives, and that's what really I wish I could do, and what I feel like God has called me to do. So let's see. And the reason I brought up is creating those resources is I love doing that, and I think I'm very good at it. But again, my heart is to connect, to invest, to be relational, to use those tools to build relationships, to build into the lives of kids and families. So that's really my heart. And what have you struggled with? So I would say probably the biggest thing that I've struggled with in that context, because that's really what we've done. We work with schools, we work with churches and pastors to accomplish their vision and their goal, all those things. And we're a very creative team. I'm actually very privileged. The people I'm working with, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Bullfrogs and Butterflies and Music Machine and Bible Man, those are all things that they created. And so, they have Dove Awards and Grammy nominations and all that stuff. So to be a part of a team that really cares about kids and doing excellent things for kids has been really awesome, and grown, I've grown in a lot of ways. But again, my heart is to connect and to invest. So, but on that note, everyone there is a creative person, and so we haven't had one kind of administrative person there. There's no administrative personality, and that's not me naturally either. So I have kind of stepped into that role since it's so badly needed, and I really love structure. So I said, here, let me help out with this. So I was able to develop our donor database and our calendar and how we communicate with our teams to make sure everyone's on the same page, and all those sorts of administrative things. Now, that's not something I enjoy per se, but it's something that I've gotten really good at because nobody there has stepped into that role, and so I've been doing that for the last 4 years, just making sure that all those administrative things get done, that we have, you know, the materials that we need for this event, that we have the personnel we need for that event, etc., etc. So I don't love it, and I'm not gifted at it, but I've definitely honed my skill in that area, that in administrative area. So that's probably been my biggest struggle. So that is really kind of my experience with children's ministry. So a lot of one-time touches at churches with kids, at elementary schools, and yeah, so it's been cool. I've really enjoyed it, but looking forward to see where God puts me next. Number 2, what would be your top 5 priorities in this position in the first 2 months? You know, that's a funny question, because a lot of it really depends on the church. And so I don't know, I haven't interacted with your church and haven't really seen where you guys are at, or the children's ministry is at. But I would say, you know, there are a few, I guess, foundational things that I would absolutely do. Number 1, I would want to connect to the church. And that might seem like a given, but I think it's super important to be intentional about that. You know, if the Lord leads in this way, then you guys will be our new family. And it's so important to really get to know people and to get connected and to build relationships in that context. With that in mind, I would want to be super intentional about connecting with the people who are already involved in the children's ministry, the volunteers, the team leaders, of course, the leadership of the church, and be intentional about connecting with them, getting to know them, building relationships. The same with the parents, the families, the kids, you know, setting up maybe meet and greets so they can get to know me, I can get to know them, and start to build a relationship, because this is something new and it's important to build relationships, especially if there's a new leader who steps in. So that would be one of the first things absolutely I would do. The second thing I would do, and I have a feeling that you guys are that you would be set on this, but again, I have no idea. I haven't been at your church. So, but the second thing I would do is absolutely look at the policies in place for child safety. If there are things in place to protect kids from predators, policies in place, if we've done background checks, and there are simple things you can put in place, like making sure someone has to be a member for at least 6 months before they can serve. There's always 2 people in a room with the child. Simple things like that are what prevent predators from doing harm or even staying at a church. So if things like that are in place, awesome. If they're not, I would absolutely right away put things like that in place to protect our kids, because that is a top priority. Yeah, so that would be number 2. Number 3, the impression I got was that you guys are very happy with the curriculum you have right now with Elevate, and I checked it out. It looks really cool. And I would just want to get more familiar with that, see how you guys have been using it, how's it been working for you, what are the pros, what are the cons, and just get familiar with that, and how it works, and what my role would be, and making all that stuff happen, and things like that. So